Raylene, this is Eric. He's the one you send stuff to.
Hey, Marvin.
Hi,
I just
Marvin.
want to say
Good
hi.
to see you. Hi.
Good to see you again.
Oh, projecting. Oh, here eventually. Yeah, that's the one where the president was up here and says, you know,
Fully stopped up now, huh?
they should
Yeah.
be
Now I can actually maybe do my real job. It's pretty soon, hopefully. If you don't stop that, turn your head around. Sit. Well, no, not really. I mean, I don't work in that office anymore.
everybody's done those
This is our new plan. I'm Grims.
Hey, Tom. So Marvin, how are you?
but still.
Taylor, stop. I'm waiting for them to
I'm
get.
gonna need an attorney anyway, so.
They still have PS.
Here, show me the line.
The council supplemental map.
You. Good. Hi.
PSP, construction plans, or final plat, so totally different.
Both of them said they'll show up, both ladies. They said
Well,
they're just running late, apparently.
Denise is here. I saw Denise. And then
Told them I'm from the very
Three
beginning.
of us, we get me corns. Right?
That I never connected to Claremont's, and ours is just as close. There's no reason for them not to. Yep.
All both ladies, and that's it.
That's all we got now.
That's all we
Nate's
got.
gone. There's only
Nate's
four
gone,
of us.
or whatever.
Sorry.
I mean,
Wasn't me,
we
but-
already. We've tried to work with them. You know, we let them clear ahead of time.
love it. Did you golf today?
I don't know what.
Where'd you go?
How are you? But I have told them
Kaiba.
Oh, you went to Wakayla.
everything.
I know.
Put some money in
I think that's Bill.
Yeah, no, I'm to the right of you, or I should be, I assume I am.
Not really, actually.
there. I think it was
Right in the middle. Do you have any questions on what I read about the business question?
I just gotta tell my son.
If it's Ethan for sure, fine, yeah, because I'm sure it is. He probably claimed himself.
Yeah, well, because he doesn't know.
Here she is.
That's why I was saying, give it to me so I make sure I find out some of the kids' returns. And
So, you know, you promised to send me some.
Happy summer.
We had him
I
group
did.
chat
On the
together.
text, in the group chat.
You
I
know,
gave you the contact person right up in the group chat. You never responded though.
Hell, I don't ever respond. That's what my kids say to me. Dad, we send you a text and you don't say nothing. I say, okay, that don't mean I ain't got nothing to say.
Before we gotta start.
You better check that, Mr. Mateus.
sure.
Good to see you again.
Mr. McCoy, how are you, sir?
We don't have to agree with one thing. It left the afternoon school. Plus, we want to see some. Have some businesses for the city.
Well, because when I walked in, they had Mickey Mouse Clubhouse up here. Because of the date they're doing this summer camp, they had a big Mickey Mouse.
Oh, that could have been fun.
This?
That's why you show up early to watch the Mickey Mouse.
they usually give us a friend agenda, we didn't need it this time.
I couldn't pull it up on my.
No paper? No paper? No paper.
No paper.
For notes?
I know, that's why I was like, you guys usually have the agenda, you don't have
I
it?
have
Nope.
an empty piece that I can make. I'll give you a kiss. There you go.
We make believe.
Thank you.
You gotta make believe we're making notes. So like,
Give one to Oscar.
This is from Dan.
Are these his favorite treats?
gotta have fun.
You feed them table food?
Okay, where is my little thing on the bottom?
I believe so.
Pull it up,
Oh, there it
and
is.
then hit.
He'll
the-
sequester
yeah,
the-
And then it should be, yeah, there you go.
Oops, yeah.
That's for the screen up top.
Thank you.
Never
Right,
started
right, right
that.
there. Right there. Right there.
As you saw, it took some time.
It's not good for.
Yeah,
There's all kinds of, you know, stuff that they're not supposed to have. It's sex. They're supposed to have spices, they're not supposed to have salt, they're not supposed to
I'm gonna
have
have fun with this.
a lot of the certain food. There's a lot of foods that they're not supposed to have.
Yeah.
And
Just
we
make the
start
moment of
baking-
silence a little longer, because we go like stand up going.
baking table scraps.
Oh,
Makes it
yeah,
better.
yeah.
They-
Absolutely,
Ours don't
absolutely.
beg, we can eat and they don't.
Kevin?
Kevin, nice to join us. You hurry up, you got less than 30 seconds.
Uh-oh. I thought I was the latest.
Because I saw a painting one time it's during the Italian
Oh, I know
Renaissance.
words.
Anyway, they were long tables and they're getting ready to eat.
Me either. I can't, no.
They're dressed rather differently. But you know what was so familiar?
But I know you check things
Sitting,
like that.
waiting to get something.
6:30.
Please help.
You ready? I gotta put this on mute.
I knew people would do that, but like I said, it also gets to the point where
All right, ready?
because they're bugging
Oh,
me
yeah.
or they're sitting there,
Yeah,
you
right.
know.
Hi. The time on deck is 18:30 or 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. May we please rise for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know you like to lay under the table, but you can't do that to me.
Has anybody any issues with the agenda? Anything for review? Any issues? All right. Any public comments that does not have to do with anything on the agenda at this time? Any public comments that does not have to do with anything on the agenda? Going once, going twice, moving on. Minutes. Does anybody any questions, concerns, or changes they'd like to do the minutes?
No.
No? All right, can I get a motion, please?
Motion, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, commission discussion and action item, resolution, item number 2, 3, and 4. Can we combine those all since they're all related to the same thing?
Yes, Chairman, we can. And if you like, I can go ahead and start reading the resolution titles into the record.
Please.
All right, Resolution 2025-03 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Minneola, Florida, granting a special exception use permit to Chapter 102, Division 12, Section 102-343 of the Land Development Code for the City of Minneola, Florida, for property generally located west of US Highway 27 and south of Vino Road, Minneola, Florida, allowing for the location of a liquor store with the sale of alcohol for off-site consumption only, providing for conditions, providing for recordation, providing for an effective date. Resolution 2025-04 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Minneola, Florida, granting a special exception use permit pursuant to Chapter 102, Division 12, Section 102-343 of the Land Development Code of the City of Minneola, Florida, for property generally located west of US Highway 27 and south of Vino Road, Minneola, Florida, allowing for the development of a convenience store with fuel operations, providing for conditions, providing for recordation, providing for an effective date. And finally, Resolution 2025-05 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Minneola, Florida, granting a variance pursuant to Chapter 102, Division 12, Section 102-345, Paren 1 of the Land Development Code of the City of Minneola, Florida, for property generally located west of US Highway 27 and south of Vino Road, Minneola, Florida, providing for conditions and providing for recordation and providing for an effective date.
All right, before we get this going, I'd like to if we could please, anybody who wishes to speak in the public, if they could please stand and swear in.
We're going to swear everyone in who wishes to come up and speak tonight. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, and so we'd like to swear you in. So please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much.
Take it away.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. For the record, my name is Eric Roche with Inspire, here in my capacity as a contract planner to the city. We've got a relatively short agenda with 3 cases. They're all related, as mentioned by Ms. Koch. So they're items 2 through 4, and I'll just give a brief summary of the overall project, and then I'll talk a little bit about the timeline. You have seen this before at a previous meeting. There have been some changes. I'll speak to those changes, and then I'll get into the staff analysis before we open it up for the applicant and public comment. So as you may recall, this one's west of US 27 and south of Vino Road and Sullivan Road. It's about 21 acres in size, and the request here is 3 parts, as you can see on the screen. It's all Zone B1. The first request is for a special exception for alcoholic beverage for off-site consumption. That's a small liquor store associated with a grocer. Number 3 is a special exception for a convenience store with fuel. And then number 4, item number 4 on your agenda is the variance for the square footage for the grocery store. As you may recall, the city has a maximum of 18,000 square foot for any individual commercial building. So they're requesting to exceed that to do a grocery store. P&Z considered the original applications back on June 2nd. And there was a number of people who spoke at that meeting. You may recall, it was a pretty long meeting. There were community concerns specifically related to compatibility, safety, buffering, some concerns with some of the specific uses proposed for the project. And as a result of that meeting, the applicant elected to do a workshop, both with P&Z and City Council. That occurred on June 24th, and the applicant resubmitted their plan on July 25th. So it's about a week and a half ago since it's been resubmitted. And here are the changes that they proposed on their revised plan based on some of that community feedback that they heard. So first, they relocated the gas station from out parcel 1, which was on the hard corner with Vino Road and US 27, down to kind of the south portion of the site, outlined in red there, immediately adjacent to 27, to take it away from that residential neighborhood due to some of those concerns from the residents. They moved the liquor box from north of the grocer to south of the grocer to further insulate it from residential. They moved the grocer 50 feet to the south. They worked with Minneola Charter School to relocate a bus stop internal to the community to the north, and I'll let the applicant speak through that process and what was agreed to there. And then finally, they added a 10-foot berm between the grocer and the western property line, just to provide some additional visual relief from those single-family residential units to the west that you can see. So I've highlighted the berm in green, I've highlighted the liquor store location in blue, and I've highlighted the new gas station location in red. So just stepping into the individual applications, agenda item number 2, as I mentioned, was for the liquor store. It's within a proposed commercial subdivision. It was, as I mentioned, relocated south of the grocer. It's about 3,000 square feet in size. And I'll note that the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-site consumption is considered to be a special exception in the B1 zoning district, which is why this application is here. These are the criteria. We went through these last time. Not many changes to the analysis in the report, just because they've relocated the use. So these are the big things that need to be considered: traffic, parking, loading, and service areas, yards, screening and buffering, the size, location, and number of special exception uses within the district, architectural and signage, and then public services. And I'll step through each of these one by one. Sorry, it went a little fast. In terms of the traffic generation and access, we anticipate this use to have similar traffic impacts to other B1 retail uses. It's really a retail type of store. Off-street parking, loading, and service areas, all of those are going to be provided per the Land Development Code. So they're not requesting any variances or any relief. They'll be consistent with the code as it relates to criteria number 2. Yard screening or buffering, again, they're going to have required landscaping per code. They're not requesting any variances for that. Size, location, and number of special exception uses. This use is a little unique in that it actually has specific locational criteria within the code. You can see that citation on the screen. It says you should have at least 400 feet between establishments such as these, and they meet that requirement, so they are consistent with the requirement to have distance separations. Architecture and signage, they haven't requested any variances, and that'll all be reviewed at the site plan stage where we get a detailed look at the architectural package, design standards. And then public services, we have not received any objections from Public Works regarding the ability to serve the use. So in summary on this one, the revised plan was submitted for review on July 25th. We found it's compliant with the special exception criteria and distance separation requirements. We have no outstanding comments from planning staff. We are awaiting response from some of the other reviewers just because it was resubmitted so recently. But I'll move on to the next one. This is agenda item number 3. This is the special exception for the gas station use. Covered this before, west of 27, and they relocated south onto the site. It's a little bit of a smaller parcel than was originally contemplated on the north corner adjacent to Vino. It's 1.2 acres, and again, it's zone B1, and this is a special exception use in that district. Just over 4,800 square feet of convenience store and gas station uses. They're proposing 32 parking spaces, which exceeds the minimum required by code, and they're consistent with the height requirements for the zoning district. This was the original architectural set that was submitted with the request. They did not submit an updated set, so I believe this is the proposed as it stands today. We did have some comments on this, which we mentioned that we would address during the site plan review process. Again, these are the same 6 criteria that we just went through. The applicant did submit a traffic impact analysis, and comments were issued back on June 30th. We're awaiting a response from the applicant on those comments. I believe they were looking to address some other comments from Lake County and maybe some other agencies before they resubmitted. Number 2, off-street parking, loading, and service areas. They do exceed the code minimums for parking, as I mentioned. They are going to need to stripe a loading area and designate that per code, which shouldn't be a problem. Yard screening or buffering and landscaping. They've proposed 10-foot landscape buffers on the north, south, and west. They've got a 20-foot landscape buffer adjacent to US 27, which is consistent with code. You may recall that that was an issue when the site was located on the northern corner. We found that they didn't have the proper buffering. In this location, they do. Architecture and signage revisions need to comply with the code. We made that comment, and they're committed to working with staff at the site plan process for architecture. And then, again, public services, we've not received any objections from Public Works regarding the ability to serve the property. They are showing a 10-foot buffer. I mean, and this is perhaps a little bit of a nit, but their plan shows a 10-foot buffer adjacent to Vino Road. They are going to need a 20-foot buffer in that location. Even though they've relocated the gas station, there's still a note on the plan that shows a 10-foot buffer. So we'd ask for that to be cleaned up through the revised plan process. So we are requiring additional information to evaluate criteria 1 and 5. As I mentioned, they're going to resubmit the traffic study. So these are the items that we recommend requiring as part of any action. The revised traffic impact analysis, as I mentioned, the updated site plan to designate the code required loading space, the updated site plan that shows the 20-foot buffer on the north adjacent to Vino, and then updated elevations for compliance at the time of site plan. And then finally, the last agenda item, This is going to be the variance for the square footage for commercial. Same site location. This is what's known as out parcel 9 on the plan, 6.22 acres in size, also zone B1. So this is the interior partial that has the proposed grocer. They're proposing just under 48,000 square feet of grocery uses, which requires the variance. As I mentioned, the city has a maximum commercial square footage per building of 18,000 square feet, so they are proposing to exceed that. These are the criteria for evaluating variances. These are what you need to consider when making your recommendation. The first is supposed to be no decline in property value. 2, should be a benefit to the public interest. 3, would be an unnecessary hardship to the applicant to deny it. 4, can't be contrary to the spirit of the code. 5 is financial disadvantage, and 6 is physical hardship. They haven't claimed a financial disadvantage or physical hardship, so we're really focused on 1, 2, 3, and 4. Excuse me. So in terms of no diminution of property value, it's going to allow for a grocery store to serve the adjacent residential uses. Don't feel this would be a decline in property values. 2, public interest. This is going to provide access to food for the surrounding residents. 3, the hardship. Absent the variance, the grocery user is not able to occupy the site under 18,000 square feet. And typically, you look at any commercial grocer within this area, they're typically between 40 and 50,000 square feet is common size. I believe that was said at the last hearing as well. 5, spirit of the land development code. This is the only variance they're requesting. They're not requesting any variances for parking, landscaping, building height, any of those things. So they're going to be compliant with code, so it is consistent with the spirit. And then finally, they're not claiming the financial or physical hardships, as I mentioned. So we don't require any additional information to evaluate the request. We have no outstanding comments from planning staff on this one. So with that, I will stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McCoy, do you have any,
I don't have any right now.
ladies, any quick questions, thoughts before we move forward?
I have some concerns, as I have notes. I mean, I understand the grocery store because, like you said, the majority of grocery stores are usually more than 40,000. I think the ones that are 18 would be more. I'm not working words today, but yeah, I mean, a typical Publix would be about 40,000, especially if they're going to have a deli, the meat department, the pharmacies, all those. Even if we get lucky enough to get a Whole Foods, they'd be 40,000 square feet. And like you said, it does provide good positive impact on the neighborhoods because it does pick up the property value. My concerns are with the gas station mostly and the liquor store. If we could, concerns on that, or some of them, I don't know. Like you said there's on the grocery store, you said the buffer, you extended it. How far back from where we were originally, you added that extra? What's the total?
So yeah, and I'm glad to defer to the applicant on the changes they made, but the change is the grocery store location actually was shifted down about 50 feet to the south. And then they added, you can see this, it looks almost like a stormwater pond on the plan.
Hang on, I
But
gotta
that's a berm proposed
Where are
to
you?
screen this use from
Yeah.
these residential units. So I think they heard some of the feedback at the last meeting and
Yes,
wanted to make sure there weren't any, or try their best to make sure there's not any visual impacts to that residential community.
Is that stormwater pond a dry retention pond, or is it actually going to have water in it?
This is the pond up here. Dry pond, I'm told.
Thank you.
So that's the same distance from the original, besides down, the distance from,
Yes, ma'am.
on, I think that might be the only, I might have more later.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for those questions.
I've got quite a few.
The only thing I had was you mentioned about getting a response on the traffic generation, and when is that response anticipated? Who is it coming from? And you mentioned also awaiting response from reviewers, so I just wanted to know when we can anticipate those responses.
Yeah, great question. And I
Thank you.
think in terms of the internal reviewers, we should have a response before this goes to council on that. In terms of the traffic review coming back, that's on the applicant to resubmit to address our comments. So I'll defer to them on when they plan on submitting that.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. Kevin, I got a question for you. If I recall correctly, last time they were here, the residents explained concerns on Vino Road, that double use, for lack of a better word, because their kids get picked up and dropped off in that general vicinity or area. And it was one of the concerns they brought up. Have they mitigated any of that? It looks like there were some changes, at least on the rendering I see.
As far as the approach?
The
on Vino
approach,
Road?
correct.
As far as I can tell, nothing changed. It looks the same as what it was before. There's still a dual left coming out of there, and it's a through right. So I didn't notice any change, because that was some of the concerns I had, was the full access intersection that you see up here is still there. This is still the same geometry as it was before. So the problem you're going to have, at least from what I was looking into, in the afternoon, you have 314 vehicles turning left out of here, and you only have, which is going to be about 400 feet of queue, you only have about 240 feet sitting in there. So what you're going to end up seeing is a lot of that's going to start backing up into this intersection and creating more issues. So this intersection needs to be looked at again, because you have your northbound left and your westbound through have to fight an odd turn. As you see how they kind of turn and it goes more to the north, and that's because they're working with what they have, which is understandable. But if you're sitting here in the inside left turn lane and you have a larger vehicle that's trying to turn left, you basically have to go way out and then turn in, because you're coming at an odd angle. If you think about it, just trying to make that turn, you have to go, you can't see where you're going into, you're gonna have to make this odd turn trying to get in there. So it's gonna make for a difficult situation trying to turn in there for somebody who's not used to it. And then if you're going westbound, you're going straight across. You have to go straight across and immediately make this left turn, or you start moving to the left because you have to reorient your car. And then what's not shown on here is you still have to have a through lane on the north side up here. That's not shown. So all that improvement needs to come out of the neighborhood side, if that gets done. So, because you're missing the through lane on this side, so you still need a through lane in the sidewalk. So all that has to come out of the other side of the road. Do you see what I mean? So, did that answer your question? I kind of went.
Yeah,
on.
yeah, for the most, okay, if I remember, they were intending, or correct me if I'm wrong, a stoplight will be there, correct?
That's what it's shown, yes.
It's
and
showing,
the
but if I
signal
remember
warrants were done, and it warranted a signal at this location,
Okay,
so.
thank you. I know you're gonna
Yep.
have more as it comes up.
Yeah, I didn't want to jump into that any
Where
further.
was it? Where was it?
Before you leave, Kevin, could you state your name and your
Oh, sorry, yeah.
title and your address for the record? Thank
Kevin
you.
Carey, 20237 Sugarloaf Mountain Road. I just get that recorded and just.
Kevin, where was the proposed bus stop in relationship to that intersection?
I thought it was right here, like it was up in this intersection right here, is what I thought it was. And then it moved into the neighborhood, I think, is where it was moving into, inside the neighborhood. I didn't really see that too much, so I can't really speak to that one, so.
Fair enough.
Okay.
All right, can the applicant come up and, who was the gentleman saying was wrong over there? Because I know, I'm not calling for you right now, because I believe the gentleman in green is the board president, correct? Okay, so I know you're gonna have a lot of most of the combined concerns here. So when they're done talking, then, I'll ask for you to step forward, because I know you're gonna voice most of what everybody is. And then then your next gentleman, sir, with the glass on the head. Applicant, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's good to see you guys. My name is Jimmy Crawford, 702 West Montrose Street, Claremont, Florida. I will sign in before I leave. And I'm just a project attorney, so I cannot answer the engineering type questions, but the good news is we have engineers coming out our ears here, and we're happy to try to answer that. We do have a whole team. We have Derek Ramsberg from Kimley Horn, and Jason from Kimley Horn. We have Nathan Landers and Erica Landers from Blackfin, and Steve Lepotsky from Blackfin as well. And between that team, I believe we can answer everybody. As you guys know, we've worked on this a long time. Well, not me. Everybody's worked hard here except me. I just jumped in. But this is the third or fourth iteration, and I believe we have substantive responses to the questions that were just presented. I would just put one lawyer thing in there, and that is that the city's traffic reviewer is MAPS, and their review is in the backup. And obviously, if there's conditions in that review that we are required to comply with, we will do so. As you probably have heard me say before, the legislature has moderately kneecapped all municipalities on dealing with traffic. You can deal with traffic safety, but you can't deal with volume as long as we agree to enter into a proportional share agreement for whatever traffic we are generating, which of course we do. In fact, we're going to pay for more than our proportional share that I'll let the client talk about. Lastly, I would note that the planning report stated that the traffic generated by this is similar to a majority of the B1 uses that are allowed. So, and in fact, I can draw up a list of B1 uses that would generate twice as much traffic that are allowed uses that don't come before you guys for anything. So we're working with the city and the neighbors the best we can. I think they have shown that, and we will try to continue to do that. I think I would like Nathan to come up, perhaps. He's been the principal that's most involved in this and can give you most of the answers. And if we need a Kimley Horn engineer, we'll certainly provide that. And of course, you guys can ask any of us any questions that you want.
Thank you.
Nathan Landers, Blackfin Partners, 4440 PGA Boulevard, Suite 600, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. As far as the bus stop, excuse me, our understanding is, again, we met with the Minneola Charter School. The charter school actual bus stop was right more or less where it says, like, just past where it says full on Vino Road there. So we sat down with them, went through the whole process, and I can provide you with the names and things like that. And so ultimately, you know, trying to alleviate having, you know, again, that general area be where the kids are being picked up, waiting for school buses, again, listening to neighborhoods. We spoke to them, and what they came up with, and they've already initiated this, and if you go to their website, they have the bus stop locations listed on there, and it's moved to the north, so it's inside the community to the north at the next intersection up, which is Malbach and Rioja or something like that. I forget the name exactly, but so it's just one intersection north, so it takes it off the Vino road there, which is, again, your primary thoroughfare, puts it inside the neighborhood there. So that is 100% done and completed.
Okay, well, we have them up there. Bill, do you have any specific questions?
No, I'm good.
Other than the one I kind of brought up real
Yeah,
quick?
I'm good.
Ladies?
Not at this time.
Not at this time.
All right, Mr. Board President, come on down, please.
Good afternoon. Good
evening.
Good
How
evening
are you?
already. My name is Richard Del Toro. I live at 1941 Burgundy Drive. I'm the HOA president for the community. So, a couple of things, right? He speaks about B1 variance, same traffic, whatever. on the area that it's not, the only difference between the different B1s in the area is that it's not on a community exit, right? They're all in corners, and it doesn't interfere with the community. This one actually interferes with the community exit, and that's the problem. The other thing with the bus stop, there's 128 homes in this community. I am the board president, right? No one communicated this action towards me. So the developer is going behind the HOA, just gathering 2 or 3 household members who they've already brought to their side, probably, and made this decision without us. There's 128 homes. This decision was not made by the board. I found out about they moved the bus stop because a homeowner complained to me saying, why'd you agree to move the bus stop? I was never part of the conversation. We were never asked to participate in that decision. So how is the developer making decisions for us in my own community? How are they deciding where my bus stop goes without even asking us? And that's a big issue.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Turn and ask him.
Who'd you call? Because you didn't call me.
I do have a quick question for you, real quick.
Right.
Richard?
Richard,
Yes, sir.
sorry, I forget, okay. Is your community, it's not gated, but do you guys own the streets and roads and the maintenance?
You own them.
Sorry?
The main streets, it's public. This
Okay,
belongs to the
alright.
city.
All right, good to go. So they're basically public streets and roads, got it. Okay,
Vino's the only private road.
okay, good to go.
Vino's the only private?
Thank you, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, right. So Vino currently is still owned by KB Homes, according to the city. They still own the deed on Vino. So when they did the turnover, that was the only thing they didn't want to get back to us.
Okay, thank you.
As far as a bus stop, yeah, again, we listened to the neighborhood, so we reached out to Minneola Charter School, who we were told is the only one that's dropping off buses there. All right, there's someone else. And so we, in a conversation with them, it was not us telling them where to go. We brought up the topic of concerns and things like that, and so their choice or their decision felt like it was the best solution was to move it to this particular location. That's how it came about.
Okay,
And then, I will add also, is that as far as the road and things like that, that this property has been commercial, and this road and this surrounding property were all one parcel. And so that roadway was sold to the residential when this property was already commercial. And that roadway was designed as an easement, access easement into that roadway there. So that was all planned prior to the housing going in.
thank you, excuse me. Question?
No, I just.
Go ahead, sir, if you got
Okay.
more.
So in addition to that, what is this is a city road, right? It's a city road. It's not a private road. What is the city going to do to protect our neighborhood, to make sure our safety is your number one concern, which is speed bump somehow, signs. What's the city planning on doing with all this high traffic on our community? And I just found out now you guys actually need part of our property to do that throughway. If that's what I understood, you need something on the left side of where our property is to make the throughway for the road. I'm finding this out today. There's no communication between the developer of the city and myself, or if you're contacting our community, you're not contacting me, or somebody's being contacted in the community, which is not me or my other 2 board members. And if we are the board, we should be involved in these conversations, or at least give a heads up of what's going on.
First of all, Vino Road is a private road. US 27 is FDOT. So they've been working with FDOT on the requirements that FDOT is making them done. It's not the city. The city doesn't have anything to do with that. It's FDOT's road, and they're the ones that make the requirements for entrances and exits on it. We don't have anything to do with that.
Right, but they're making decisions inside our community for the school buses and moving school buses, and
That was between them and Minneola Charter. The city wasn't involved in that. The school was involved with the developer. The city was not We have not been involved in any of this, have we, Eric? So,
The 10 feet buffer that they're, or the 10 feet burn, is that addition to the 20 feet buffer that they originally proposed? Because you know you asked the question, like you want to get the total. He never gave you the total. All he said was, yeah, 10 feet. In the original conversation we had many meetings before, it was like a 20-foot buffer. Is that 20 foot plus 10 feet, or did we reduce it now from 20 to 10?
That corner house is yours, if I remember right.
That's correct. And that's why I ask. So my opinion is the Florida DOT, right, hasn't approved anything yet. Until we don't get approval from them, why are we moving forward with this project? We don't even know if they're going to approve that secondary road that they're suggesting has not been approved yet. And again, how are we going to protect our community from this entrance? What are they're telling? They have very limited space, and they want to put 3 lanes. I believe only 2 cars fit coming in and out. How are we putting 3? I can literally stop on the stop sign and only 1 going out and 1 coming in. There's no way we're fitting 3 cars there. So how are they proposing? They're proposing 3 or 4, because it's 3 now, but they still need a throughway. So it's 4 lanes on a road that doesn't fit only 2 cars. That's all I got for now. I'll leave it to my other neighbors to speak up.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Richard, have you talked to Minneola Charter about the bus?
So we contacted, somebody had contacted them, George, right? George contacted them. I cannot speak for George and what conversation they have him, so I would actually let him speak for him.
Please step forward, if you want. Go ahead. Just mention your name and address, please. And sign in if there's a sheet. There should be a sheet there. Thank you.
George Camara, 757 Rioja Drive. All the school stated was the developer contacted them, and they made the decision. The school made the decision. So that's it.
Okay.
'Cause by experience, because obviously I live in an HOA too, from Lake County, and also we have different, schools that come to our neighborhood because we're 600 and something homes. Most of those schools will actually listen to the residents and move their bus stops according to population time. Granted, they are short-staffed. Not everybody wants to be a bus driver, so they got to work what they have, and sometimes they're limited in how many stops they could make because of the time and so forth. But most of them are accommodating. It looks like you know who to call to express your concerns. But I appreciate it. I know you're going to come up and talk more, and I owe that gentleman back there with the glasses.
That's
and
why
the chair.
I'll sit down so everybody's going to speak. Thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
My name is Kevin Haig, 2080 Malbec Court. He brought up a good thing about this. I live in the front, so this entrance right here is gonna be like my view. My girl is 10 years old. There's about, I wanna say 50 kids that get picked up every morning for school. I can watch them from my house, from my driveway, see everybody. Yes, there is a real drive and Malbec. That bus spot has been there for the past 4 years on that corner. Minneola Charter, when they started picking up, the bus driver made it in between from the corner to next to my buddy's house, like in between his house. The bus driver would make his turn and stop, they would get out and get in. And then Aurelio Cole County Academy would pick up on the corner, right? They leave. So my thing is, you're gonna try to put 4 lanes here, right? That's gonna stop all, when you do this traffic, when you do this construction for this road, where are we getting out? How are we getting out? How are we getting in? You know, we don't, just like he said, there's only 2 lanes. One to go left, one to go left, one to go right, one to go left, and one to come in. And then you got the medium to come in left. So if you're gonna do construction, where is it gonna do? Because I work at concrete, you know, so
Sir, can you please address the board?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank
I
you.
was just talking.
Yeah, no problem.
So my question is, so like where's the construction gonna stop? How are we gonna get in and out of our community? You know, even with the school buses, you got construction going on there. So my question is this new buffer, why do you have to come out here? Because it has to come in, why can't you come off 27? Why don't you take one of these middle stores and take them out? Instead of being so greedy and make an entrance right here in the middle, you know? Instead of messing with this entrance up here where we are and in our community. Because no matter what kind of construction they do, they're gonna hinder us from getting out of our community and back into our community. You know, no matter what you go about doing it, even if going across the way, like our president said, onto our community, you're stopping us coming in and going out. So no matter what you do on that corner, you're stopping us from going in and out, going back and forth to work, taking our kids where we need to go, this and that. So to avoid that, you take out one of the middle stores that you have and make the entrance there, you know? And then you have an entrance on the end down here on the south side. You know, I'm glad you moved the gas station, but that entrance is not suitable for our community at all, you know? And I think that's what they need to revive and revisit. I know it's a zone for commercial businesses, and no matter what we can do, we can't stop it. But I think they need to revisit that whole corner right there because it's not right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm Colton Batum, 2164 Malbec Court. First off, thanks to you and thanks to Blackfin and the community. We've made some really important changes. The gas station was the biggest one, the liquor store being moved south, the berm being added. I think these are all great things that, from my perspective, make this a lot more welcome. There's one thing for me that I think would be really beneficial to address, which is the landscape buffering. I tried to look at the code, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I haven't done this before. But it seems that Class D buffering or Class C buffering might be more appropriate whenever residential directly abuts commercial. I don't know why that's not applied here, but along the northern perimeter, they're planning Class A, and along the western perimeter, they're planning Class B. I tried to send something ahead of time, but I don't think my images went in the email, so I have these. I don't know if I'm allowed to give these to you for visual aid. Is that appropriate?
As long as you're okay with us holding on to them and giving them to the clerk?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give them to the attorney.
Oh, you can pass them
Oh,
around so
you
you
wanna
can all
pass
see
them
them,
around? Okay.
and then we'll just give them to the
Thank
clerk for
you.
the record. Thank you.
If I recall, you're a police officer, right? Or something like that, I think?
I'm sorry, sir?
Were you a police officer?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So what I have shared is I went on Google Maps and I looked at a Publix near Kings Ridge in Claremont that appears to have Class D buffering, a wall, very dense foliage. And then I looked at the Publix off of Hancock, which appears to have Class A buffering. Now, renderings are great, but no one's beholden to make sure it actually looks like the rendering. In real-world application, you can see how much is blocked by a lighter buffer versus a heavier buffer, and I think that Claremont and Kings Ridge really got it right. So I would ask that maybe along the western border we do Class B, and along the northern, Class D along the western perimeter, and Class B along the northern perimeter, just to show that if we are going to increase volume with a grocery store, that we go above the bare minimum to protect the houses from the noise and the visual pollution and all the cars and things like that. But aside from that, that's all I have, and I thank you for your consideration and Blackfin for the changes they have made.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Nicole Marie, 879 High Point Circle. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, how you doing? Amy?
I'm doing well, yes. I'm doing well. First, I want to formally say that thank you very much for the changes, because obviously our voice was heard in the workshop, and that's important. However, I do have some major concerns that I would like to bring to you guys together as a board to think about. A lot of these are really good points. The first biggest thing that I have an issue with is the fact that it's over variance. And in order for them to get approved over variance, they have to prove hardship. And according to the Inspire what was in our packet, that the hardship is self-inflicted. So if you look at the packet that was provided, it said that the reason why they're in hardship is because their design is too big. That doesn't seem like hardship. If it's self-inflicted, if you know that what you're creating is bigger than the variance and you're choosing to do it anyway, then that to me doesn't prove enough reason to say this is an actual hardship. A hardship or something would fill a community need. For example, if we don't have a grocery store and we need a grocery store in that area, but there are, we have the Publix, there's multiple Publixes within less than a 10-mile radius from these residents, so that doesn't really fill a community need. It's more of a leisure at that point. The second issue, the big issue I have about the school board thing is that number one, it's the school district that makes decisions of where the bus stops are. It's not the city, it's not, HOA, it's not that, it's the school district. However, there is only a time that a developer can act on behalf is when the project is approved. Right? So if the project is approved, then at that point they can contact the school board and say, hey, we are in, alignment with the city of Minneola, we have this project and we need to move this bus stop. However, they acted without the city's approval. So as if they've already got this in the bag. Well, the issue that I have now with that is not only are you not allowing us to trust you, you're making decisions acting like this was already approved and it hasn't, but you're not really working with the community. And when the gentleman was asked, who did you contact? He said members of the community. Well, what members? Because there's a lot of community members here who had no idea and they felt blindsided. So if you're coming in as a developer to this neighborhood, to me, the first thing is you have to be neighborly. And if you're making decisions that affect your other neighbors without communicating them, I don't think that that's very neighborly. The third and final point, as I have 20 seconds left on the clock, is the other big one was the fact that, okay, great, we did this conservation buffer zone, this is fantastic, but we're still developing on every square inch, and I want to remind you, if we approve this variance for this particular reason, for this self-inflicted hardship, how many other developers are going to ask for the same thing? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. My name is Juan Camacho. I reside at 753 Rioja Drive, Minneola, Florida. I'm an attorney, been practicing law for about 15 years. Before I resided here in Florida, I was practicing attorney in Pennsylvania, where I represented the city of Allentown for about 5 years as an assistant city attorney, and also sat on the zoning board in your very chairs for 5 years. So I know the hardship, no pun intended, and I know the work that goes into this. But we're here about a variance. Just very simply, as a contrast to a special exception, a variance is when an applicant is trying to get a use that's illegal within the lot that they're trying to develop. So in other words, it's prohibited, it's impermissible. The only way that an applicant can proceed with a variance is if they can demonstrate hardship. My colleague that previously testified to you just a moment ago talked about hardship. Hardship cannot be self-inflicted. It cannot be a financial disadvantage. It cannot be an inconvenience. A hardship, it's something that's unnecessary, something that has to do physically with the particular characteristics of the lot that the applicant is attempting to develop upon. It can't be self-inflicted. When we look at the package that was submitted to the board in advance of today's hearing, and I'm looking specifically at the hardship statement, page 313 out of 335 in the package that should be before the board, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship to the owner seeking it. When I read that through, the very second sentence in the explanation for what a hardship is, according to the applicant, the necessity for this variance request is rooted in design considerations. Design considerations have absolutely nothing to do with the physical particular characteristics of the property. Design is something created by the applicant, and that hardship is self-inflicted. It is not a necessary undue hardship, it's self-inflicted. I continue. As a development of such a large parcel cannot comply with all aspects of the code without the variance, development of such a large parcel cannot comply with the variance, that seems to me to say the land's big, so let's develop big. That logic does not comport with the spirit of the code, and it should not be used as a justification for approving this variance. I continue. The denial of a variance could potentially create visual and functional discrepancies within the area. There is no visual inconsistency that can be created by granting this variance. To the contrary, it'll create an inconsistency. Caliber Collision is next door neighbor. There's a residential community, whom a lot of these people that are in this room are residents of. You got a low impact commercial in a residential area. This is a high-impact request for a grocery store that's 3 times the maximum building allowable square footage for that particular lot. It's not consistent, it's inconsistent. And I close, the development potential will be hindered by this requirement, which would impede the progress and growth for the city of Minneola. When I see development potential, I see profit potential. I see money potential. I see maximizing the coffers rather than maximizing the spirit and advancing the code for the community with that we live in. So I'd say deny this variance.
This is for the city's attorney. Obviously, he stated he's their attorney. What he's saying makes sense, but I'd like your opinion on everything he just stated in regards to the whole hardship.
The city has had a code in place for many years now to discourage any commercial structures over 18,000 square feet. So as you know, anything that is over 18,000 square feet has to come before our city council and you to be granted a variance to that city code requirement. That's something that is, again, citywide, and it's not particular to this development or this property.
Okay.
And I would just say that the applicant's attorney is here as well, and he would be better to state their reasons for the request and
Understood.
provide their hardships.
May I, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would note that Florida law says each local government is free to develop their own variant standards, as the city has within their LDRs. Secondly, this has to be decided by you and the city council based on the competent substantial evidence that's in front of you. That's the staff report is what we've heard. And Inspire, I'm looking at page 310 and 311 of the packet, found that we met all of the requirements, noting in addition, this is kind of interesting, under 9813E3, it says, the literal interpretation of the code would effectively eliminate typical grocery stores from operating within the city limits. I would also note hospitals, you cannot operate the city of Minneola, a city with this size, with an 18,000 square foot minimum. This was an older minimum, and I honestly think it should be addressed. But if the city wants to keep a close look on every building bigger than that, then they can do this, or they can make it an SCU. And then the staff report concludes saying it is worth noting that the city previously allowed the Hills Crossing Publix, which measures approximately 48,000 feet, and includes additional square footage for inline retail. In addition to the Hills of Minneola PUDs and like I say, the hospital and the other things, if the city wants more of these things, they have to allow them when the conditions are right. And we would assert that we've tried very hard to comply with the neighbors' conditions. And before we quit, I know there may be some more neighbor comment. I just wanted to address that one, and we do want our engineer to come up and try to address some of the technical ones. Thank you.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to add also is when they're talking about this thing, it's the use is allowable use here. It's just the size of that particular building for one use. The actual FAR for this property would allow over 1 million square feet. 1 million square feet. 1 million. We're only proposing maybe 1/10 of that. 10% of that. I'm just that is the truth. That's when you talk about that. So again, it's just for a particular building enclosed, and that's the 18,000 square feet. So.
Okay. You may. Oh.
So build your own entrance. Leave my entrance alone.
Sir,
Stay away from my
sir,
entrance.
excuse me.
Address us.
I'm
and
sorry.
Yeah, I get it.
Stay away from my entrance, right? You have a huge lot, like you said. You can do 1 million things for it. Make your own entrance. Make your own entrance. Leave my entrance alone, and you can do whatever you want. Just leave my entrance alone. Stay away. Simple as that.
I do, as the, okay, as the board president, obviously you were here at all these workshops, or the workshop you had with them, correct? Would you say and I'm not here to defend them or anything, okay? Would you say they've been accommodating and listening to most of your concerns, open-minded, essentially?
Negative.
Okay.
Negative. The only one thing they did was move the gas station, but this gas station is still there. So we didn't want the gas station. All they did was say, all right, so we'll move it further away from you, and that's all they did. But the gas station was not removed from there.
Thank you.
And the liquor store as well.
Sir?
I'm Bob Twiggs from 781 Rioja. The 1,000,000 square foot is crazy. I mean, that's why we have municipal codes. That
And I read your
allow-
email, by the way. We have that in the packet from you.
That's from last time.
Thank you.
Last time. Just some statistics from a Google search. There are 69 gas stations within 10 miles of our development. Out of that, 5 are 7-Elevens, and they're within 5 miles. There are 13 grocery stores within a 5-mile radius of our development, and there are 21 liquor stores. Do we need any of this for Minneola? Is it helping the community? Is it there? Is it an enhancement? We don't believe so as community members. We think it's a detraction. And I think what George was talking about was, in order to expand what is Vino Road on our side, and is it Mulbeck on the other side? To expand that, they'd have to cut into our community. They haven't even talked to us about that. It's just the whole project. It seems like it's, first of all, it seems like it's a done deal from their standpoint. And secondly, it seems ill-conceived. That's all I have to say.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Twiggs.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, members. My name is Sarah Budaram. I'm 2085 Malbec Court, Minneola, Florida. Hardship. Using that entrance and exit is going to cause me physical and financial hardship because I use that entrance and exit every single morning during peak hours. I choose to take my children to school as opposed to riding the school bus. The school bus, there are 2 school buses in our community. There's Ariola Cole, and then there's Minneola Charter. There was no feedback from us about moving the school bus. And I find that even though it seems like something small, it's something really big because moving that school bus, I live on the corner of Malbec. So how am I going to get out my kids to get to school so I could get to the hospital in time to take care of my patients? So that's going to cause me. My kids are going to be late for school. And on top of that, I'm going to be late for work. So what happens when all of this happens? I have 3 young kids that I have an hour window, shower, get dressed, and out of the door. Usually I have to beat that school bus by 7:40 to exit out on 27. And on top of that, 27 is jam-packed now in the morning, especially when the weather is bad, and especially when the turnpike is like backed up. So as a mother and a working mother, this is going to financially and physically provide a lot of hardship for me and my family. They're also blocking that entrance and exit out of my house to get out of the community by moving that school bus. Yes, they did call the school, and the school did reach out to 12 families. There are 12 families. We have 126 homes, and those 12 families live in the back of the community, and they made the decision that, yes, it's okay to move that school bus entrance without informing our HOA. I mean, Richard and George, especially George, when you text George or you send them an email, they respond like that. So I'm sure you're able to get George's information or even George's information so you can reach out to members of our representative that's representing our community, not just one person and 12 people who made such a big change. So my suggestion, please, is for them not to use our entrance and exit. I don't want it to be like Davenport, the Champions community. That's what our community is going to become. A lot of us spent a lot of money on our homes. We're talking about over $500,000. You know, we're not developers. We're hardworking individuals. And we were tricked into buying into this community by KB. We do not trust developers. I personally do not trust developers. They'll sing you and tell you whatever you want to hear just to sell you that project. So please, if you can, they can figure out a way to not use our entrance and exit, that would be beneficial to us. So that's all I have to say about hardship and that entrance. I could care less if it's a 15, a million, whatever, but do not use our entrance, please, because it's going to be very hard on a few of us who do take our kids to school. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question, and I'll pass it to you guys to ask a question here. How feasible, because I'm not, engineer or construction. I mean, one of the big questions that these residents have is using the Vino Road entrance for construction. How feasible is to potentially move or make a construction road kind of like on the bottom right-hand corner where it says right in, out, access corner, where you see that road, to make that into a gravel construction entrance? That way construction is not moving in through the main thoroughfare there. How feasible is something like that? I mean, somebody educate me, because I'm not sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. While there's a number of concerns been voiced, 4 out of 5 of them say the intersection and the Vino Road is the biggest problem. So with that, I would like to bring up Derek Ramsberg, and he can address that, the Vino improvements that we've done, as well as DOT's jurisdiction over the road and the engineering, civil and traffic engineering, safety preference for bringing people out to a signalized intersection on 27 instead of out midpoint, as well as having multiple accesses. The city requires that, and it's good planning practice, but I'm sorry, give your name and address for the record, please, Mr. Ramsberg.
Derek Ramsberg with Kinley Horn Associates, 200 South Orange Avenue, Orlando, Florida, 32801. As far as the concerns about the access on the Vino Road, that is a cross-access easement, and we are pretty much required to use that. We can't have 2 accesses on 27. We've had pre-apps with DOT. They have their spacing requirements for driveway entrances, so they physically won't allow us to do that. And we're required to have proper circulation for vehicles, which would require us to have those 2 accesses. So the Vino one is a must. As far as the improvements to that intersection, what we have here, basically for a special exception application, we're required to do a traffic analysis. Traffic impact study, have it reviewed. In that traffic study has recommendations. So those recommendations are based off all the modeling software. And basically what that shows is that 2 left turn lanes, and the purpose of the second left turn lane is to reduce that queuing length so it doesn't back up into the main access. And then as far as we don't need any property of the community. There is about 20, 25 foot of right-of-way just to the north of that curb, which is all the inside of the public right-of-way. So we don't need any of that. We don't need any private property of the community. Basically what we'll be doing from a conceptual standpoint, because part of our process after we get through the special exception is we have to permit this with Lake County, we have to permit this with FDOT, with the city. So what we'll be doing is taking that existing pavement and basically expanding it on both sides. So we still have our 12-foot lane minimum widths. So instead of, right now you have about 25 feet of asphalt, it'll be 40 feet of asphalt, all within right-of-way. No private property needs to be taken for it. And then also with the signal, so based off the required amount of trips that come in and out, along with the development to the east. So this stuff is coming regardless. So even with the development to the east, has nothing to do with the west side, a signal will be required because basically we've hit that threshold. And honestly, it's a safety. Maybe it takes a little longer to get out, but it does improve safety significantly, which is part of the reason why we are doing that. So we have our signal warrant analysis, our intersection control evaluation. All that is in review with DOT right now, and we're planning on what we need to do as far as progressing that down the road. So yeah, so that's, as part of this application, this is just conceptual. There is more design to it, but there's a lot of design that comes into this stuff. So it's not like we get approved and we go build tomorrow. I mean, we got a lot of things to iron out, but no private required.
Yeah, thank you for answering that.
Yeah, any other questions for
ladies? I feel like I've asked a lot.
That's okay. So I hear a lot of talk about the FDOT and the county and the city, and that we're waiting for these anticipated responses. And I don't feel that that is strong enough at this time. So I do think that is something that needs to be cultivated and finalized and brought to the community.
Yeah, so the traffic study has been reviewed and updated and reviewed multiple times. So what we're doing now is, because DOT and Lake County both have to review it too, because this is part of their jurisdiction as well, we have to have one consistent traffic analysis, because we can't have, city has one, DOT has one, it has to be consistent. So we have to take all the input from every agency, put it together in one cumulative traffic study that everyone can review. So we have addressed many of their concerns already, and I think we're down to 4 or 5 comments. So we've gotten pretty much all the way there. We just have to get everyone else's input before we could do it. Because, I mean, it's just as much DOT's purview as the city's.
Thank you.
I can't recall, does Avino have already where you can turn left, right and left to go in and out of that, or is it just right turn off of 27, or, yeah, can you turn left if you're heading?
There's a full access. There's no
full
dedicated
access.
right, left through. It's just one lane that you do all of it at. But
It's a full median opening.
it's a full
though.
median opening.
So you would you possibly consider having another section where you could do that? Yeah, further down like that, where it says right in, right in, right out, left in, is it possible you would consider that? I know you said you were listening to FDOT, but.
Yeah, for the construction access, or as the sole access for the
As
development?
maybe another access to alleviate the amount of traffic that would be sitting on Vino, or even if, I don't know if this is possible, because if you have another one, could it be possible at the entrance you do a roundabout to make it easier for the people to get in and out and not have to sit there and wait for, but would that, having a roundabout there, then make a traffic at the red light too much? These are just thought processes I'm having, I don't know.
Part of the analysis for the intersection control evaluation is to look at roundabouts and signals and those kind of things. Essentially, at the end of the day, per DOT standards, this is way beyond the threshold of allowing a roundabout. So that wouldn't be possible, unfortunately, at this point. As far as the right in, right out, that is a full access point that we expect a lot of our traffic to go through. Was that the
Well, yeah,
question on that?
as like I said, possibly even, like I said, using 2, because to alleviate, if that is gonna be creating so much traffic that it's gonna cause trouble for the developments to get in and out of, it's because I can imagine how much traffic would sit right there. They have to make a left turn, and if that's the only in and out, and even though you have that, well, like I said, is there a possibility, another one, because one entrance, and if you're saying it won't generate a roundabout to make it a little bit easier than sitting there waiting for traffic to come in and out.
I want to make sure I'm answering the question correctly, but are you saying another access on 27? Because we can't do that. So per DOT standards, there's separation requirements for driveways, and we've had the meetings with DOT and everything, so you can't physically have another one between that right in, right out and that signal.
And if I could add, we would love to,
We would,
because
yeah,
it
we'd prefer it.
increases the value of the out parcels if we could put another out between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. But it doesn't even come close to meeting DOT standards, and they will not give it to you.
Well, proper access is a requirement that we're granted, or any property is granted.
Okay. Mr. McCoy?
I don't have any questions. I have some comment and question for Joyce. We did a workshop for this.
Yes, sir.
My real concern is the first showing for this project was a few months ago. I can remember it when the developer and the attorney said you were going to get with the community. We have too many questions and concerns about this project. And we've had this meeting, a workshop, and the initial, and we still got 100 questions to answer. And, you know, even something as simple as the bus stop. You know, I know the entrance and the exit and the construction road, that's a big deal. But for what we're asking here, this should have been easy, because obviously there was no communication between you in you. And that's not the way this is supposed to work, and not where you promised, that I remember, promised that you were gonna communicate with the community. Stand by. I don't know whether the president, made himself known to you guys, but obviously you're not talking to him. And if you're not talking to him, then all these concerns that we had, are having, should have been answered already. You go ahead.
Yeah, again, we came in before PNC, tabled that, and came back and did the workshop. We heard the community loud and clear, and we tried to address those concerns. And I feel like, again, if we go back through the slideshow, you can see all the concessions that we have made. Again, I reached out to the Minneola Charter School myself based on that. One of their main concerns was having that bus stop right there. And again, I said this earlier. So we spoke to them. I called them up. I thought for sure I was going to get more of support on that, but apparently I did wrong by not talking to them first about it, even though I didn't make the decision on moving it or where it was moved. Excuse me. Or where it was moved. I called the Minneola, spoke to the person that's in charge of them, and also spoke to the bus driver, who is a former NYPD cop. And we just talked about it. I said, the concern is here. I showed them the plan and just said, hey, this right here is the location of this bus stop. From my understanding, they said yes. And basically I said, this is a concern, and they said, but talked about it, came back to me and said, hey, we're going to go ahead and move this up here. We feel like this is the best solution for it, based on their timing concerns and constraints of getting in and out of the community and all this other, to try to, address that concern. So we feel like we have stepped forward in trying to do that. The other concern was about the convenience store. And so we have gone through that and been able to try to push them down further away from the community. Furthermore, we've also addressed their concerns about the landscaping. And so we've added a 10-foot berm in the rear to continue to landscape that. So I feel like we've done a tremendous amount of work to help them. However, we're not going to get there as far as their full support on this. There's not much we can do as far as the access onto Vino Road. We do have, again, that property, before the community was there, that property was sold from this one. This was already zoned commercial, and there is a dedicated access easement to this property. I understand that their property is there, but this property is here, and it already had that access easement there. And again, as we have stated, that the requirements is there are two access points to this property as a requirement. And so that is where that one is, and the other one is where it's located based on FDOT standards. So again, we're trying to do everything we possibly can. The additional improvements associated with the traffic signal, with the additional turn lane exit, there's additional turn lanes being added to 27 as a proposal. Again, this is special exception and variance only. We're not in the full design yet. So again, a lot of that stuff will be continually answered as we formally move through that process. And the same with the city. Again, this is a first step for us is to go through this before they actually make a consideration to our actual site plan designs and things like that. So we're not trying to jump too far into that. That will be absolutely answered and go through the formal processes for, city, county, FDOT, whoever the governing agencies are.
I do, we kind of jumped around all over the construction. I do have a question in regards to the grocery store. They're part of the liquor store, if you want to call it. And then the convenience store is also going to be selling alcohol. I completely understand it. Alcohol does drive business to many places. Do you feel it's a necessity to have both on site?
Yeah, that is part of their business model. Again, the grocery store operates that liquor store. It's not going to be a separate one. We're not looking to add it just for that particular use. It's, you know, again, the only reason why it's not inside the box is because of Florida legal. You're not allowed to have that.
Yeah.
It's got to be a separate box. And then convenience store is just beer and wine. It's just a normal convenience store.
And I mean, I'd be honest, I seen a lot of, I could tell you've heard them, okay? Hearing and listening are two different things, right? But I could tell you heard them, you listened to many, you've done a lot of changes. Obviously, they still have a lot of concerns. To me, my point of view on this is most of them don't want just a gas station, period, okay? There. But I seen you've readjusted your plans. I could see you're working in good faith. You're working in good faith and trying to figure out, hey, because I remember one of the big aspects was their concern about the school entrance. So I could see you're working good faith, whether you did it correctly or not, but I could see you're working on good faith and trying to come up with a solution. I am not sure if I have further questions right now. Probably something come up, but if there's any further residents or Kevin Carey or anybody wants to say anything, floor is yours real quick. Go ahead.
So he states that this is not the final drawing, so what are we approving then? If this is not the final drawing, are they seeking approval so then they can backstab us and say, oops, so this is gonna be the final drawing, but we're already approved, so now you gotta eat it whether you like it or not, and I'm not gonna eat it. So come back with a final drawing, right? Because he say this is not the final. This is like he's still working on the final drawing. So what is the final drawing then? Why isn't it presented today? If it's in good faith for us, why wasn't it presented today, the final drawing?
If we, Joyce, question for, if we basically approve whatever recommendations are here, or whatever, this is not gonna be the final, the end all, or would we say 90% what's there is how it's gonna be?
What they would need to do is basically do it the way it's shown here, okay? They may have to, based on some elevations or drainage or different things, they may have to make some slight adjustments, but basically, this is what they're held to. What they're asking for is these uses. They still have to go through the whole site plan process. They have to submit drawings for what the buildings are gonna look like, exactly what the drainage is gonna be, what the utilities are gonna be, what the parking's gonna be, what the landscape buffer itself is gonna be. All that has to be submitted, reviewed by staff, meet our recommendations, and then it will come again to hearing. If they subdivide this, which it looks like, are you subdividing it or are you putting it, okay. So first of all, they're gonna have to do a subdivision plan to create all these individual parcels. That will come for hearing. Then they have to do construction plans, then they have to come for final plat. Well, final plat doesn't have to come to hearing anymore, but they get a final plat, which makes those legal lots. Then each individual lot has to come in with a site plan, which shows the landscaping, the parking, the drainage, the buffers, all of that on each individual parcel as they develop the parcel. So they will, for the special exception and the variances, they will basically be held to this layout. They won't be allowed to move it up here, back up where it was. They won't be allowed to do that. They can't move the fuel back up there because it's being approved for down here. That's part of it. The grocery store, they'll need to keep it basically where it is because that's what they showed for the variance.
But they can come back and say, well, we surveyed the land, and just like how the city required me to have a retention wall inside my property because of the water, they'll come back and say, well, the buffer has to be smaller now because we just decided that, hey, how do we ensure these buffers are going to stay the way they are?
If that buffer is put as a part of the condition, a certain size, then that's what they have to build. If P&Z and City Council want to say they have to have a 20-foot berm there, then they have to have a 20-foot berm there when they come in with the site plans. It's up to them to make it work.
Go ahead, I know you had some questions, go ahead, might as well.
Just come up and
Okay.
address, you have to
Okay.
address the
So we could hear you,
board.
please.
question is this. You want to build around a perimeter, right? In that, what, how many acres you said it was? 21 acres? It's all trees that been there for 30 years or better, right? Now you want to come in there and tear them all down, right? And then in the design paper that you showed us these trees that are 25 feet tall, you know, blocking the view of what you're building. But if you're going to build something there, why can't you leave a 10-foot buffer of nothing but trees that are already there, that are already 30 feet long, high, that you can't see what's already there? And then the people in the community, the people that are in there, stores can't see our community. And then therefore you block a lot of stuff, and you kill a lot of issues that are going on, because the issue is we don't want to see what you're building from our backyard or our front yard. But if you leave the trees that are already there, make your 10-foot buffer, then you could design whatever you want to design. And then in the front, in the corner, you say you can't have 2 driveway entrances on 27. Why can't you take that corner spot and make the entrance right there on the corner after our spot?
Chairman, I can very quickly try to address that comment. The grading on the site will be subject to the city requirements. There's a tree removal permit and a mitigation fee that has to be paid. And what we did, and I don't think everybody has realized it at this point, but the buffer in the back by the only residences that are near us is 100 feet. That's twice as big as anyone in the city, and the D-class buffer we were talking about is 30 feet. In addition to that, we've agreed to enhance landscaping and then the 10-foot berm with plantings on top of it. So no one in the houses will be able to see us, and we won't be able to see anywhere into the community.
Can you, sorry, are you able to put that image we have where you can see the berm
That's
by
what I
any
was going
chance?
to ask. Yeah, do we have it in our
Or
packets?
project it up there where you can barely see a roof? Because I know I saw it on the
Yeah,
the
do we
pad,
have, that was, I was
so they
gonna
could
ask
see
the
it
same
for the
thing.
convenience.
Do we have the landscaping up there? Or can we put the
Are you able to
landscaping-
put that up on the screen?
I just have what's in this presentation. I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Wow. I was wondering that too, because that was one of the concerns.
Yeah, okay, good to go.
Well,
And
I saw that. I see the berm, and you can barely see like a little red section there, and then on top of that, you're gonna put the landscaping on
Additional
top of that.
trees and hedges, yes.
Okay.
And if I might ask 15 seconds of indulgence, if anybody out here is still speaking to me after we're done, and KB really told you that stuff, I'd like to talk to you. I can't take you on, but you need a lawyer if that happened. Thank you.
Mr. Twiggs? Just a quick question. Can you come up here, please? You gotta, sorry.
Sorry, Esther.
Yeah, no problem.
Didn't mean to overuse you.
And then Kevin, you're oddly quiet, so,
That's scary.
yeah.
That's why I said sorry.
So the visual, I saw it in the packet as well. We have to understand what angle that's taken from people in these homes, and I'm not affected by it at all. I'm way down Rioja. But the people that butt up against that project, is that view from the ground? Is that view from the second floor where they're looking out their window? Is the view from, 10 feet down the road? It really depends on what that view is that you saw there, to figure out whether you can see the building all the time. Some of the time, same thing with light pollution coming out of it. We'll fully block that.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna have, dark sky requirements on that whole project. If I'm wrong or correct.
Into
I'm
the
pretty
back,
sure they're
That
gonna
was
have
one of
that.
my
into the
questions
second
for them.
story windows, into the, you know what I mean? I just think all that has to be asked. Thank you.
And your email was very thorough, so I appreciate that.
yeah.
Thank you.
This, if they can see this, that kind of answers his question.
Yeah.
Nicole Marie, 879
know.
High Point Circle.
ahead.
Just for the dark sky thing, the city of Minneola is not dark sky compliant, regardless of what Mark has said. It is a specific article, Article 4, that you have not yet adapted. So they can go by what their dark sky is, but it's not in the code yet, which is a conversation for another evening. But as of right now, the city of Minneola is not dark sky compliant, so therefore anyone claiming that they are dark sky, we are not certified, they don't have it in the ordinance, it is not something they can adopt, so it's something that they can do dark sky what they think, but dark sky is a specific ordinance that the city of Minneola doesn't have. So I would like to remind the board that you are not obligated to approve this. And so what I would like to suggest is some actual solutions here, because we've heard a lot of, I don't want this, and maybe not now, but I would like to give you a little thing. So in this case, the proposed development includes the new access point off Highway 27, and to my knowledge, it has not been approved by FDOT. So we're putting a lot of weight on something that has not yet been approved. Without that approval, the traffic plan is considered incomplete, and legally, this board cannot responsibly approve a plan that relies on unverified state-level infrastructure, period. The traffic study provided is also outdated because it is no longer good because the traffic study was done before they moved the gas station, so a new traffic study would need to be complete, and that has not been completed yet according to the packet. So specifically, it doesn't account for the relocation of the gas station, which directly impacts the traffic patterns and the safety concerns. So in urging you to vote no to this right now, as it stands, I do invite the developer to return with a revised plan that includes the formal FDOT approval for the Highway 27 entrance and also provides an updated traffic study reflecting all the current elements of this site plan and respect the proper order of approvals before altering public services such as moving schools and bus stops. So this way, I mean, at the end of the day, they are going to be neighbors. And as all of you know who are married and have neighbors and have family and children, communication is key. So what we're looking at here is that this is not very neighborly. They're coming in, they're making decisions because they want something and they want something now. But like I tell my 10-year-old, if you whine about it, doesn't mean I'm gonna give it to you any better. So at the end of the day, what I am hearing here is that these residents want communication. They want to be included. This is something that directly affects them. And had, the developers reached out with the HOA president and created that kind of communication and that relationship, then maybe the conversation would be going a little bit differently. But they didn't, and we're here. And so now I ask you to consider these recommendations, have them kind of go back to the drawing board, because we can always discuss this again when everyone's in harmony. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I promise I'm gonna quit. I would say Vandy will win the SEC before we're all in harmony for this, but they did, so that's not going to work anymore. We believe we had the workshop. There were more than a dozen communications from the official communications to the city after that workshop. We were able to comply with 3/4 of the problems. The ones we can't comply with are, we don't want you using our road because it's a public road and it's required by us to use, and we just don't want you here. We're allowed a convenience store without gas as a matter of right. Do you know what kind of convenience stores you get when you put one in without gas nowadays? It's not going to be the quality that we're going to have. I would. Nope, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying we have property rights just like everybody else does, and you have to balance those. I understand that. It's not easy. The FDOT permit issue, FDOT will not issue a permit until you have your zoning and your site plan approval. So there is no way for us to get a permit. The engineer testified that we've had preliminary meetings with FDOT that went favorably, and that resulted in this site plan. If FDOT doesn't approve that, then according to Joyce, and I completely agree with her, we're back in front of you guys because we can't do substantially in accordance with this plan, and we have to come back to the drawing board. They've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and on the engineering, it's going to come closer to $1 million before they get here. So they're not going to do this in a willy-nilly way or a way that they don't believe they can fully permit it. With that, we believe that the competent substantial evidence is all in favor of approving this, including the staff report and our engineer's testimony. And the unanswered questions are unanswered because they're not within our control to answer at this point, and it is only the first step in a fairly long series of approvals. And we ask you to let us go to the next step, please. Thank you.
I object to you throwing numbers out there of $1 million and whatever. I pay $600,000 for my home. As a single person, you are a corporation. You're gonna make millions.
Sir.
Don't throw money. Don't throw money. Don't throw money out there. Don't throw numbers about $1 million and so what? So what? KB Home did the same thing, and that's the reason we're in this predicament, because the owner of that property, gave that road to KB, and it's in the city. They still own that road, and the condition is they're gonna give it right back to the city or right back to them, so that they can so that that property can be developed. So don't talk to me about money when everybody's making money, all right? And I spent more than $500,000 on my home, a single person out of my own pocket. So don't come to me about $1 million that you spent $100,000. Boo-hoo to you. So what? You know how much money you're gonna make after this is all done? I'm not getting a 10% in my pocket of this. And I was sitting right, I was sitting right here in the workshop. I am 6'1". I look like a wrestler. Don't tell me you don't know who I am, because even you remember who I am. And I don't even know, I don't have your information, but you know who I am. So they don't know who I am. I'm invisible, like I tell my kids. There's no way for me to be invisible, even if I wanted to.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Respectfully, I'm not making a dime off of this, and I'm the one that spouted off the numbers. So if he's got a problem, it's with me. And the last thing I would say is, you also knew who the developer was the whole time. How many times did you reach out to them?
It's not our job. It's not our job.
Well,
All right.
thank you.
Quiet. It's okay. It's okay. Come here.
Hi, Colton Batum again. I just want to come back on the buffer that the gentleman addressed. 100 feet instead of 30 feet is generous and better than Class D. That's still, whether it's 30 feet or 100 feet, I think it's about how much coverage you get. So Class B would be, and this is 100 feet wide horizontally, how much cover they're required to provide is 4 canopy trees, 2 understory trees, and shrubbery. Class D is 12 canopy trees, 8 understory trees, and the shrubbery, and an optional wall. So it is substantially more, and I think everyone here would prefer to have 30 feet with Class D versus 100 feet with Class B. So I just want to say that this situation is not better than Class D, which was implied by that statement. So I just want to reiterate that point of view.
Thank you.
Sure. So what was addressed there is after the first meeting, I reached out and found Seth, which was part of Blackfin. I recognized him on LinkedIn to make a connection, to make sure I'm speaking directly with these guys. I talked to them and told them my concerns. I did some polls on the Facebook group just to try to get some kind of consensus. Hey guys, here's what everyone's thinking. The gas station, the traffic's a concern, the buffer. So come into the workshop with that in mind. Just trying to do what I can on my own. They reached out to me, sent me an email about the bus stop, and I said, I have no kids, I have no stakes in this game. I passed that along on the Facebook group. Hey guys, just so you know, they asked me, do you have any thoughts? And I said, I didn't get anything. Here's the HOA president email. You may want to reach out to him, but I have no horse in this game. So there was communication, but I passed along that I don't know anything about the bus stop.
All right, so the point of his comment and your comment is, basically what you're trying to say is they were reachable. Is that what you're trying to say with that kind of insinuating that they were reachable?
What is the point of the statement?
Yeah, what's the point of the statement? Him asking you to say something, and so was it because you? Well, I'm not trying to.
Just to be clear, that you had a communication.
You were able to reach them, and he was able to reach you, as in he was open for communications. Is that what I'm trying to say?
Nathan reached out to me But I did make it was clear I was not representing the community as a whole or any official matter.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but
Yeah.
my point is there was a two-way communication. You were able to discuss some of your concerns. Okay.
Yeah, I reached out on my own behalf, yes.
Thank you.
Sir, can you state your first name again?
Yes, Colton?
So Colton, you are part of this community because you're here.
Yes, ma'am.
So whether you have children or not, the safety of children are a concern of everybody, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I just want to clarify. Okay.
Oh, no, but I'm not one to
State
make
that,
any
I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Safety is a community concern. With or without children, you're still part of our community.
Oh, yes.
And we appreciate your support and all the research you did.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's very important to me. I just should not be one making decision as I have no children. That's what I meant.
Thank you. Sir, and then I know you have questions, right?
Yes, good evening again, Juan Camacho, 753 Rioja Drive. I just want to paint a big picture. I know that we've had a lot of discussion about communication, who started what conversation, when it started. The question before the board is whether or not the resolutions before it advance and promote the health, safety, and welfare of the community as a whole. What we hear, we're not talking about perfection. Zoning ordinance doesn't require perfection. It just requires reasonableness. We hear, I mean, we have one side with the developer and one side with the residents of the community. Reasonable minds do not differ on the issues before the board. There is no promotion of health, safety, and welfare based upon the plan that's before the board. That's the only issue that you have to decide today. It's quasi-judicial hearing with evidence to back up whether or not the requests are reasonable. There are no hardship. There is no hardship for the variance. And because special exceptions require reasonableness and restrictions to it, the way this is presented, there are none. So because reasonable minds shouldn't differ, despite and regardless of who communicating with whom, all these requests should be denied.
Thank you.
While I understand the gentleman's comments regarding hardship and variances, the city tries to become very proactive in changing things, but they can't keep up with the pace on the many things, and hence why they grant these variances. Because if, point in fact, a lot of those variances, we wouldn't be able to have the Crooked Can coming. We wouldn't be able to have the hospital coming because of the limitations of what the city has in code, and the city gave them those variances because they saw it was something beneficial to the city.
Hi, Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Welcome back.
Kevin, go ahead.
Okay. Kevin Carey, 20237
And then
Sugarloaf
you're
Mountain
next,
Road.
sorry.
That's okay. I wanted to hear Kevin anyways. Go, Kevin.
I think by
Yeah,
heart,
so
it just-
it was brought up, the report was not updated with the latest design. I was glad to see the gas station did get moved it further away. That's always a good thing. Reading through the traffic study, I mean, a lot of things, the east-west traffic gets degraded. It gets worse with the signal getting put in. You see that in the level of services that are shown in the tables in the report. The queuing that we already talked about here, and then the development that goes across the street. One of the things that I think that I was just sitting here contemplating, looking through if you look at the back of the report, like around page 266, DOT requires you to have an ICE analysis, which is your intersection control evaluation. That's where you look at different methods of controlling traffic in the intersections. If you look at some of the tables that were done, some would say closing that median is the better option. Some would say traffic signal is a better option. So in looking at that and reviewing the developer's study for the Scorman development on the east side of the road, their study of this same intersection recommended that you prevent like westbound lefts, and that was part of their study. I thought it was crazy at the time, but they were going to leave the median open the way it was and then prevent westbound lefts. I just don't know how you do that when you leave the median opening. Seeing as how this signal is really only warranted with this development itself, I would ask that maybe we want to reconsider where the signal gets placed. That the traffic volumes coming out of that neighborhood as it stands today, most are right turns. Everyone comes in, they take a right, they go down to Citrus Grove, get on the turnpike, go wherever down into Claremont. not many actually turn left. You could technically close that median off and make it a right in, right out, left in as well. The people on Sullivan would just do a right turn and then do a U-turn, which the traffic volumes coming out of there are also low. The consideration I would say is that if you move the signal south to their driveway at the southern end, that would alleviate the concerns here. That takes all that load off. What are most people gonna do? They're gonna go turn left at a signal. It's just safer that way, people are gonna do that. Anyone that normally would turn left out of that, let's say we close the Sullivan Road intersection, we make it directional, they can make a right turn, do a U-turn at the signal if they wanted to, and then continue northbound. Minimal inconvenience for what they would gain as far as the delay, the traffic, things like that. You would improve safety at the intersection because now you've lessened the amount of volume going into one, and you're spreading that load out into two different intersections. DOTs, you already have a full median opening already at that location at the southern end, pretty much. You could just flip the two and still meet their criteria, even though right now it technically doesn't meet where it is. It's just not far enough away. But they may consider that as an option. Just move the signal directly south. You would put it right here where you have the driveway now. Just take this, move it down here. Basically just flip-flop the two. Then you would actually create a benefit. If you can poll the audience and see, would everyone be in favor of doing something similar to that, where you move the signal to the south and you don't have the traffic.
The light permit, it's not yours, it's the, how it's being built is almost submitted, that light, not you.
No, they warranted in this report, they warranted it. So it was warranted in this report. So, and if you look at some of the documentation, closing that off was the optimal idea. So it could be either or. It's a signal or closing it, making it directional. So I would have the developer maybe look at that. You have to update the report anyway as you're moving the gas station, which is drawing the people down. You could look at doing that, and DOT would review that as well. And just flip-flopping it is not that big of a deal as far as DOT is concerned. You're just taking it from one to the other. Since the other development kind of recommended a similar situation, preventing westbound lefts, having that.
Are you saying that DOT would essentially be open to moving that down? Because I'm trying to visualize, you know how people say one stop sign or stoplight is too close to another one? You're basically going and you're stopping like not even 20 seconds later.
You wouldn't have one there. You would, this one would be gone up here. That would not exist, and this would be closed off. You wouldn't be able to make a left out of there, and you wouldn't be able to go through. You'd only make a right turn. You'd move the signal down to this location here. Now, the question we have to look at is how close it is to Citrus Grove. So it's getting closer to Citrus Grove that we have to have 2,640 feet of space between that one and the other one to meet access management criteria for DOT. So it's an option to look at. It may be beneficial to both. Any widening that needs to happen because of a dual left happens on developer's property, not taking Vino Road and making changes to that. So it could be an option that should be explored, and I'll leave it at that. The other thing that we were talking about with the dark sky fixtures, I think there's two different schools of thought. There's a dark sky fixture, and then there's dark sky compliance. You can have a fixture that's dark sky, light doesn't go up. It just goes down. So just a word of update on that one, but I mean, that's any questions for me, I'll be over here.
Thank you. Thank you for your input.
That's exactly what some of the things I was addressing before. Yep. I was trying to find, like, there's 335 pages of information we had, and I know I read it. It was on the buffering, the trees. Just don't know exactly which document it is in here. But it did speak about the type that Colton, that you were addressing. Like, it did talk about it, and I was hoping to find it because I do remember reading the type of trees, so I know there was certain natives that would allow the buffering because those are the type of trees that you would want for buffering of that size. And I do remember reading that they were going to put in at least 8 feet, which is what you would want to help with the buffering. So I do remember something. I just can't, of course, find it right now. And I wish you could see the pictures of some of the things that were presented on this to show you that it does look as far as this, the buffering would be addressed. I don't know if anybody else can address on that. But as I was saying before, a lot of my concerns, because as I was doing on the liquor store and a convenience store, when, especially the gas station convenience store, a lot of the crime, you know, the area, because we have in Minneola a racetrack and a 7-Eleven, and a lot of these reports,
The Circle K also.
yes, yes. A lot of it, disturbances, especially after 10 p.m. They actually, I think, had to ask for increased police presence after certain times or certain things or worries. But also, like, if we do a liquor store, it would, you know, require, I'd like to see something with more certain hours to mandate, like it can't be open after 10 p.m. or something like that. And again, my concern was also mandate dark sky compliance lighting and features. I would like to see something like that. And the noise and traffic, if this was to go in, we'd have to address something that goes to help the residents of the buffering. Is that enough, especially with the gas station you mentioned? This supposedly shows 10 feet, Eric, and maybe we talked about the 20 that we'd have to see. Is that going to be enough buffering to help with the concerns, the residents and everything else? But again, yeah, and possibly if there is a gas station that comes in here, are we going to have to do what the others do, where they schedule regular law enforcement check-ins? That would be a concern that I would like to see addressed if we're going to have a convenience store, gas station. I think that was it, because I have lots of notes everywhere. Anybody else?
Final public comments, real quick, so we can discuss up here.
Hi, Sarah Budram again, 2085 Malbec Court. For the businesses that are going to be adjacent to Vino Road, I know the last time there was something about used car lots. Some of the designs still have it, it might be older ones. I just want to confirm that that's not going to be along the narrows, basically, if that's still.
We have very strict code for car lots. Okay. There's only a certain number allowed in the city per 10,000 people. I believe we're at our maximum now. Even if we're not, there's very, they have to come for, I believe it's, they have very strict restrictions. It's only a certain number of cars. They have to have all kinds of screening. It's a lot of restrictions that they would have to do. They can't just go in and put cars all over there.
Like, I remember when we first met, I think that was initially there, but we pulled up one of the old designs and I felt like it was still there. It might have been an older one, but I just want to confirm that, you know, that's not along the line near there.
And that would be something that they would the developer need to answer for you. Okay. It's not being shown now.
Okay.
But
it's just like,
again,
it's just a lot of different
right.
things that we're able to pull up.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask, being that, you know, Vino, Burgundy, whatever road it's called, there's so many names for it, it's public road. What safeguard, because it seems like we have no say in what happens to that road, but what safeguard is the city going to provide for us to avoid speeding cars coming, let's say they're coming from the winery and they're making that right into our community to get into the shopping center? What safeguard are we going to have that they're not going to race down Malbec all the way around to get into the shopping center? Will the city put speed bumps in our community? Will they put signs? You know, we have in that corner alone, there's probably like 10 kids and they're always outside playing. So that's, you know, that's a big safety concern for me personally. And I think that's pretty much it. Also, that road, our community was trees. I mean, I'm new to the area. Our community was trees, so obviously that road was recently built, correct? I'm not 100% sure if it was recently built. So if it was recently built, why can't they expand it and move a little bit into their community, like their section instead of ours, and make it a 4-lane. I mean, I guess it was answered before that, you know, you can't have, DOT is not gonna allow more entrance or exit on 27, but that road was, I don't think that road was there when our community wasn't built. So why can't they duplicate that road on their side? So I know it may have been answered before, but there's so much stuff that's going on. I just want to make sure that, you know, that's clarified. And on top of that, thank you for listening to us and moving the gas station. So it's not a total beat up on you guys, but there's still a lot of communication that needs to be happening. And I think you need to come into our neighborhood, and I think you need to spend time with us and see what the traffic is in the morning and the afternoon. You know, we want you to be good neighbors. Obviously, something has to go there. But at the same time, you need to communicate with us and come visit us during those peak hours and see where the school bus is, see what's going on, so then we could come back and we could figure out what's going to work for everyone in the community. So again, it's not us beating up on you, but it's just, we want to make sure that we're able to preserve our home, because your home is your sanctuary after working a hard day. So that's all we want you to do, is that exit and entrance is the major thing as of right now. And another question I wanted to ask, why did Minneola set that 18,000 square foot limit? I'm not 100% sure what the vision was for that 1,800 and why all of a sudden it's like we're asking for it to be bigger. Like, what was the vision of Minneola to create that 1,800 square foot? Like I said, I'm a new resident, so I'm trying to understand and, you know, appreciate what we have. So change is coming, yes, but why with that 1,800 square foot, and why all of a sudden now we have to change it? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Joyce, are you able to, how long ago was that?
It was a few years ago, and the reason council did that was to keep from having 27 being wall-to-wall, or anywhere being wall-to-wall big boxes. It's not that they don't want to allow anything over 18,000 square feet, but they want to have the control over what is. For instance, a grocery store, if they want to allow a grocery store at a site, it's going to have to be more than 18,000 square feet. But, you know, this is also to prevent, you know, 20 million big box stores of everything you can think of going in up and down the highway.
Understood.
Or going into the neighborhoods.
It forces the applicants to put in a variance for us to discuss it like we're doing here, and then whatever we recommend, because that's all we do. We make recommendations. We don't approve. This
Correct.
goes to the council, and the council is the ultimate decision maker. Got it.
Correct.
Thank you, Joyce.
Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Jordan Sanchez, 737 Rioja Drive. I'm actually the first house in the community. So with all this construction, gas station, et cetera, I'm directly affected by everything. First off, how dare you guys think you can undermine a community and talk to 12 people thinking they speak for everybody? That's crazy. Second, there's a whole commercial road underneath this lot that's not utilized fully. There's two businesses there. It's either privatized or it's owned by the city. If this is so good for the public, good for our community, they should have no problem brokering a deal to get access to that road, to access from the bottom. It's beneficial for the businesses there. It's beneficial for our community because it keeps everybody away from us. If they do end up doing construction with the light, with the sign and everything like that, we're going to have issues with school buses, which, like Kevin said earlier, happens right in front of my house. They're talking about they moved it down to another intersection. No, they didn't. It happens every day in my front of my house. I've lived here for 2.5 years. It hasn't moved. And if it has moved, 10 feet, maybe 20. So it's incomprehensible that makes no change to anything that they're doing. We're going to have construction, so we have one exit. I don't know where anybody's going to leave. I don't know if you guys live in Florida. We all do. Hurricanes are crazy here. What happens when people need to go to this Publix, Walmart, whatever, to get supplies? What about all the trucks that have to come in and out that can't make lefts onto 27? They have to come and make a left onto that top intersection where we're creating. So now we're only going to get backed up with cars. So we're going to have trucks coming in bringing supplies to all these businesses. And that's going to keep a bigger blockage than, I haven't heard anybody talk about trucks, commercial vehicles. Only traffic study I've heard is everyday people driving to work, mailbox. It's concerning because there's more to utilize. They're talking about they have more square footage than they're allowed to use, but they're using Hills Crossing as a comparable. Hills Crossing Publix doesn't affect any singular community at all. If you look at the property, there's not a single community that's affected by it. So to use that as a reason to use this plan doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, fellow planning zone, you got any questions, comments, anything, Jonah?
No,
Bill?
I'm good. Nope.
All right, who wants to make a motion here? We gotta move along. And this just shut off on me. Thank you.
Just as a reminder, we'll have to take 3 separate votes, one for each resolution. And if you have any recommendations, you'll have to add that to your motion. Thank you.
And if you could keep the staff conditions that we put in there as a
Always.
part of your
Yes.
recommendations, including any fees that the applicant or the property owner owes.
I have one question for the applicant. The suggestion that Kevin said about the light, is that something that is amicable to you all, the potential of doing that, since he said it shouldn't be a big problem with the, is it DOT?
Yeah, and just to reiterate, so, I mean, the signal is something that we're required to do. I mean, it's a costly expense, but we're happy to do it. I mean, the analysis as far as moving it to the east or to the south, I mean, it is FDOT's jurisdiction. The one thing that concerns me about it is just the long-term planning of it. Right now, it's connecting 2 public right-of-ways, so it's a perfect intersection, four-leg with all public right-of-ways. If we move it to the south, I know that the development to the north, or to the east, which is already being built, has their access already. So they're not gonna get another access where the light would be. And then if the potential intersection further to the south is too close. So it seems like trying to marry up 2 private commercial entrances versus 2 right-of-ways. It seems like that might be not the best long-term play, as far as the district's concerned. But yeah, that's DOT's jurisdiction, and Lake County, as far as East Sullivan Road. So we are, to answer the question, like, we would welcome it, and we could look into it, but I would be very
You're trying to kill
surprised.
2 birds with 1 stone by putting it there. I get what you're saying, but his suggestion to me seems, because the concern is with them right now. This is affecting their neighborhood, where his solution seems to help them alleviate that whole access and traffic congestion, where the other people would have to do essentially a U-turn at the light further down south, obviously when they have the signal to make that. But at the same time, I could see how the street across, then we're kind of, not to say adversely affecting Sullivan Road, but we pose a problem to them. If that's kind of like what you're thinking, or potentially.
Well, my thought was, with communication being the big key, there's still, you back up a second, the development on the east side, the Squirman development, the Live Local establishment, their driveway is a little bit further north than this signal. It's also possible, I talked to them about maybe realigning that driveway and squaring it up with 27. It is possible they could realign and then meet up with this one. That way in the future, those 2 driveways would be aligned. The property on the east side does not dump onto Sullivan. So technically, there shouldn't be a huge increase on Sullivan traffic, because what's on the east side is it has to come down to 27. And the only way they can go south on 27 is they have to go north to Sullivan and do a U-turn. When you dump all that traffic into that signal, you have a lot more cars doing a U-turn. So pushing that signal south could create a benefit to removing the load at Sullivan by all the U-turns that are coming out of that apartment complex. Those are 2 large apartment complexes, if you remember right.
Yeah.
All those are dumping to 27. They do not have an access to anything else. So you push that down there, now you have a signal that can be even more beneficial to both developments. It alleviates the stress on the neighborhood to the north here on Sullivan, or on Vino rather, and then it pushes all that development traffic down to one location. It localizes them in one place. So that was my only thought process on that, is that the East Side study recommended prohibiting westbound lefts at Sullivan and 27. So if their study says you should do that, why not we just go ahead and close that off and just flip-flop the two? So if you want to coordinate that with traffic ops in DeLand and explain your position, redo the study that shows that volume's coming down to that location, you may get a favorable, I won't say that they will say yes, but having that moved around a little bit does, we're doing this on another project as well. We're trying to push traffic in different places to spread the load, because too much of it goes into one place and then you overload one of them. And now you have a signal where you have too much traffic on one side and nothing on the other side. So it just, for the residents, for their peace of mind, it would be better to move that down and have all the development traffic use that signal, and maybe both developments. I'm sure the East Side development would probably welcome having a signalized access, but they knew they probably couldn't get it where they were trying to put it because wasn't in the cards yet. But maybe this way, when you have both, maybe a win-win for both sides. So anyway,
Thank you.
that's what I have.
All right, anybody? Final comments from us?
Well, sounds like, I mean, if we were to approve that, we would have to have, or anything we would approve, if we're going to change the
think-
traffic signals.
We make a recommendation for the applicant to move it per Mr. Kevin Cameron's suggestion, which I'm open to. I'm inclined to agree with the better
Oh, absolutely.
word. All right, so
Well, I think we should talk about the elephant in the room, about the health and the safety and the welfare of our community. And I do agree that the traffic study does need to be repeated. And I do like the suggestion of being able to move a light so that the community is not directly impacted, because one road in and one road out for commercial vehicles and bus stop and people going to work does not sound like a perfect recipe for me for a safe community. So I'm going to need a yoga class after this meeting, so my heart rate's a little elevated today, and I do see both sides, but I don't want to debunk anybody's, good research and good faith. So I do appreciate everybody coming, but I do think that on the builder's side, we do need to come in a little bit stronger than we called one school and spoke with a few representatives, because we have multiple schools, multiple children, multiple age ranges as well, and safety is paramount in our community.
So, taking into concern your question, your comments, you're able to suggest that on anything we approve here, as in like staff comments,
Yes.
in addition to this.
Yes, that
So-
will be my
So, okay.
attachment.
So,
Prematurely, I apologize.
so what I'm trying to say is, one of you three, since I have this, need to take it, unless you're gonna put it on me, and then I'll do it, and then you're gonna have to help me remember everything, so. Are
Okay.
you willing to do that at this time? Are you willing to make a motion for any of these, item number 2, 3, and
Can you pull
4?
back up my items?
You gotta go back, yeah, it's, unfortunately, we don't have paper,
Yeah,
so you gotta
no,
click on
I
each
lost
item,
my-
let it refresh.
You were
Yeah.
in the right spot. It's, you
I
have to go
lost the
back
connection. Thank you.
somewhere. Yeah, I don't know what you did.
You need to go back to where, where you say where it says item number 2, resolution, and click on P and Z. Item report, let it refresh.
Item number 2 is the special exception for the alcohol. I can tell you that, right?
We kind,
two is the
yeah.
alcohol,
yeah.
three is the
You can do one, they can do
conven- you initiate
Are you,
both.
all right.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I think she is disconnected. I can't find it.
And if I, just remind me if I'm following this in order, okay? Because I know we
Right.
combined them all.
I gotcha.
All right, I make a motion for agenda item number 2, resolution 2025-03, special exemption for alcohol for off-site consumption. I motion to approve that with the staff recommends approval of the resolution as written on the condition of staff comments are addressed.
Got a motion,
If you do have the liquor store, that's where I would like to have hours limited. because
We
you-
need a second in order for you to
Sorry.
continue
Right.
the conversation.
I forgot that part.
That's okay.
Need a second? Need a second? Here's a motion. Need a second from somebody?
Any second?
Oh, okay, second, I guess. I'm all confused now. Yeah, I'll make a second.
Now you can discuss.
All in favor? say
No,
aye.
we can, Joyce, is that we could discuss, right?
That's
Okay.
right.
All right. Well, Joyce, refresh my memory. What other locations do we have that have specific hours for the sale of consumption of alcohol? I think we have
I
one
don't know
location
that
that's
we
10
have
p.m.
any that have specific hours, because we don't, the only one that has it for off-site consumption is Publix. And I believe they didn't have a special exception because at that time we didn't require it. So the only off-site alcohol is Publix right now. And the restaurants are a different story. There's a couple of restaurants, Little Anthony's and the one across the street from Little Anthony's. That used to be Jack's. I think they're the only ones with alcohol license, and and the Fat Chef. And I don't think they're for on-site consumption, I believe. Fat Chef may be for off-site, I'm not sure. But again, that was before we had special exception requirements. So
Sir,
now you
let us
have to have
finish
it
this
for
and
on
then
and
you can
off-site.
come back up. Let us finish this process.
Okay,
right
I was
Does
just gonna
that,
say.
does that
we
answer
would've-
your question?
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
sorry about that. I'm not sure if by me saying this, it's actually kosher or, allowed, but, all right. So I'll amend my first motion, okay? So I amend agenda item number 2, my motion for resolution 2025-03, special exception for alcohol for off-site consumption with staff recommended approval of the resolution as written on the condition of staff comments are addressed, and we limit that consumption of the sale of alcohol to 10 p.m.
Okay, heard a revised motion. Second?
I guess I could second it. I just was like, when do we put in the thing about the street light? Is it, because there's 3 different
It'll be on the
variations.
very,
Last
I think
one.
it's the last, I think it's the last one.
It's kind of weird how these each ones are different.
So you seconded?
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Next one is
Okay.
uh,
Resolution,
item number 3.
yeah, let's see. Okay, so, item number 3, resolution 2025, special exception convenience store with fuel operations. Reviewing this real quick. All right, make a motion to approve with the staff recommendation approval on the resolution as written on the condition of staff comments with the same limitation of selling alcohol to basically stop at 10 p.m.
Okay, if we have a motion, second. Have a discuss?
You're not forced to, agree with me or what, but we got to move the meeting
I know,
along.
that's why I was just about to second it, just so we can have the discussion.
All right, discuss?
Because this is where I had my most concerns with the convenience, the gas station. Again, is there going to be the right buffering, the dark sky compliant lighting, air fixtures, is pretty much the whole complex, but,
I hear you.
and of course, monitoring, the law enforcement check-ins because of the other areas development having that same issues.
Can
If
we,
we're going to put this in, it's going to create,
if I were to modify my motion, even if the city does not have, this is for you, a question for you, even if the city doesn't have an ordinance on dark sky, can I make a motion where we'd ask the applicant to make it compliant with, is it Florida statute on dark side? That's what my question is. I can't contradict what the city is, but can we ask them to?
Yes, you can make the recommendation that the lighting associated with the gas station is compliant with dark skies.
Okay. All right, so I'll amend my motion, okay? Adding that the applicant is compliant with the standard for dark sky lighting. Not necessarily what the city has, but the overall standard, I guess what the state requires for dark sky lighting compliance, if that makes sense.
And the buffering,
And the buffering as well.
everything.
You got a motion?
Can you be more specific about the buffering, please? Just so we can relay the recommendation.
I know, they said they were, like the 20, just, the 20, what was it, 20 feet, and the, hold on, gotta go visit my minutes again. Maybe, well, remember the, somebody say about 10-foot wall, but I don't know. Of course, can't find
If
my
we don't
notes.
get a second, what happens is you could
I could just say
formulate
no.
it and you could make the motion yourself.
I
Or
understand.
Joanna.
You've already got a
Or Bill.
motion.
Okay.
She got it on.
Because they have moved it some, but. Sorry.
I'm gonna put the Jeopardy song up here.
Yeah, I can't find my notes on it exactly where I was talking about the buffering, but I know, like I said, when Eric spoke about it, he talked about the 20 feet. We don't see it. It's gonna need to be, because in our drawings, we don't have that 20 feet that they were talking about within the first, in this presentation. That wasn't presented. Yeah, because it says they need 20 feet, and we didn't see that on the drawings that we had tonight.
Okay. 20 feet from,
It was when Eric presented, so I just have it where he had it, it said 10 feet, and you said you need 20 feet. Eric, can you elaborate on my notes a bit? That's what happens when you take shorthand.
And I apologize if I confuse the matter. There's a 20-foot buffer proposed on the frontage with US 27 today, which is compliant with code. But their old parcel up north of, on Vino, they're still showing 10
That's
adjacent to
what I
the
mean.
residential. So we asked them to modify that to show 20 in that location as well.
Got it. I think I got it
That's
now.
probably where I got confused.
All right, so revisiting my motion for the same item, do I have to re-mention the whole?
we're just taking out the buffer,
Okay.
because that's been
All right,
addressed.
so amending it where they meet the 20-foot buffer at the gas station and at the same time on Vino.
That's your motion?
That's my motion.
We have a motion, there's,
The motion was,
Just the same thing I previously said, but adding the buffers of 20 and 20.
got it.
We need a second,
Second.
or no second. Or he,
we'll discuss.
that's one motion.
I'm not in favor, nay.
No, we didn't, oh,
Oh.
you
Is
have
it-
to have a second first.
No, he gave second.
Oh, you did give a second, sorry, I got confused there too.
Okay. So he gave a second. I gave the first, he gave a second. So now it's,
No, I was asking for a second.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't do anything.
he was asking for a second.
That's what I thought, we didn't
All
have a
right,
second
so
yet.
you don't have to give a second, just, somebody needs to say something, do something.
Okay. Well, she said nay.
Nay, I'm not in favor.
Okay, she says nay.
Mhm.
You? Well, actually, there is no second right now.
Yeah, the motion
There
would
is no
fail for
second.
a second.
Yeah.
There is no motion.
Right,
No, there is no second right now.
okay, so that one fails. 3. So we proceed on, or we need to,
Make another motion if you like.
Just because you said.
I already gave my motion, so unless somebody else. Well, let me ask you, what's your concern? Okay, the easiest way.
Well, like I said, I told you about the dark sky, and then I was just trying to think.
I mentioned
I
that.
know, I'm trying to
That's all
think
in
if there
there.
was anything else that I could have, that's why I wish I had more of my notes in front of me.
John, any
My
concern?
concern is having the convenience shop and the public grocery with the liquor, so close to a residential area.
The same, from my perspective, the same concern would be there that once they, however that shape, not to commingle things. We have the Publix across from where we live, right?
Yeah.
We have eventually in that, technically where they're gonna have that, whatever Park Square, whatever shape that takes to, whatever, a whole bunch of people are more opposed to that right now. But whatever, at that corner, everybody wants a gas station there too. And that means they're gonna sell alcohol there too as well, okay? So that same thing is there, okay? And you're gonna have all those residents there, to our neighborhood, the other neighborhood, the hills above us and all that. So it's the same issue, okay? If that, don't take this wrong, if that doesn't concern you right now, okay, for where we live at, or potentially concern you, there's not much difference in correlation to what we're trying to do here.
Right.
And how, we need to guarantee that the hours will be limited, though.
That's
That is
what-
a stipulation, yeah.
I did say that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in favor of the hours being limited.
So we get a second from you?
So is that a second, or still? No, it's still no?
Okay. it
Okay.
says-
All right, so we move on to, we can make a so motion doesn't carry, he's what he's got.
Right, the motion
Right.
doesn't carry.
All right. All right, going on to the next one then.
Item 4?
Item 4, this is where we got the whole,
This is, yeah.
yeah, hold on, I gotta read the top portion real quick. All right, item number 4, resolution 2025-05, variance B-1, maximum building square footage. I make a motion, I'm trying to see if I, hold on real quick. Too many notes. All right, I make a motion to approve the staff recommendation, approval of the resolution as written on the condition of staff comments are addressed. To be compliant with dark sky lighting, to include the recommendations from Mr. Kevin Carey about moving the lights further down south. I'm trying to see if I'm forgetting. That's what I think. That's it. That's it, actually, right there.
Yeah, have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Nay. Motion carries. And I can give a statement on why it's said or nay. I don't have to.
You don't have to?
Okay, moving on.
Is that's, am I forgetting something? That's 4.
I don't think there's only 4.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
What is the steps for the applicants, particularly in regards to the motion that did not pass?
It will still be brought forward to the city council for the dates that have been noticed. I'm not sure when those dates are, Joyce. Do you?
September 2nd.
That will be in the next city council meeting with these items on the agenda.
All right.
So just make sure you show up to the city council meeting.
There's plenty of opportunities, basically with what we just did, at least on the first top, on the first one, and then the second one is, we're basically, they have to stay within that, okay, the overall layout. No matter what we do, we make recommendations. This goes to the city council, the elected officials, and they finesse it. They either agree with us, disagree with us, or they're gonna change it at the end of the day, okay? I appreciate everybody's heartfelt community. It's a tough decision, but we gotta move the process along. There is room for improvement for communication on both sides, Because if one resident was able to contact them and talk, that means other ones could potentially. But my suggestion is be centralized to one individual or two individuals, particularly the board members, have that direct conversation, because it's just too many chiefs and no Indians, nothing ever gets done. Okay? So you centralize the communication, you bring that to them, and the applicant, in my eyes, has done a lot to hear your concerns. Can there be improvements both sides? Yes. Okay, nobody's perfect. So with that, final public comments. Yes, sir. She's, ladies first, ladies first. You good? Go ahead.
I just want to say something. 4 years ago, I don't know if you guys were the same board that approved our neighborhood to be built on a road that was supposed to be shared. You know, eventually it's going to affect us, right? It's affecting us now. And you're doing the exact same thing now, again, approving something that's going to affect us. 20 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, you brought up a few points, concerns about selling alcohol, you know, all these issues, having police presence after 10 p.m., yet you're still approving things. Like what I can tell is that you're not looking for the people. You're not looking into the well-being of everybody here. You're looking into their business.
I respect your
my
comments.
opinion.
I respect that, but you don't know me personally. I don't know you personally, okay? Trust me, I have kids. I've been there. The same problems and concerns you had, I had it in my community when I used to open up my front door and see trees and be able to, boar hunt right in front of my house. And it,
Nicole Marie,
Chairman,
879 High Point Circle.
Can't really hear any more about the public comment about the items that we just voted on. This
Fair
is
enough.
going to be about something that's
Well,
not
Fair
on
enough.
the agenda.
Fair enough.
Yeah, closing comment is all the things, but I'm not going to speak on that. I would like to address you guys. First of all, thank you so much for giving up your time to be here and be a part of this board. I understand that it's not easy, especially when people are coming at and blaming you guys for the things. And Debbie, you know I've said this to you too, especially because I probably come at you guys the hardest. So I apologize, but I love you and it's all in good faith. What I would like to remind you is that this is not their community, this is our community. You live in Minneola, you represent Minneola. This affects you whether you understand it or not. Whether it directly affects you or it affects you through a friend of a friend or it affects a travel that you have to have, this does affect you. So I would like each and every one of you to think about coming to the workshops and being a part of it, because your voice does matter. And when we only speak to you here and you don't understand how every single one of these people have sacrificed their time to come to workshops, to meet with me and Minneola Clear team, and to do all of these things that I feel like what's important here is that you are seen as that this is your tribe, right? You said too many chiefs, not enough Indians, but here's the thing. You are a part of this tribe. You are a chief of this tribe. Therefore, when we sit together. When we eat together. And when we break bread together. So whatever this separation or stagnation is, this does affect you. And I think that there's a lot of issues that I have with how tonight went. The variance should have never been before, the special request, whatever. But at the end of the day, I invite you to be involved more. Come to the workshops, show up to the council meetings, because what's happening right now is there's fragmentation. Councils are dealing with one set of conversations, you guys are dealing with another set of conversations, totally different conversations are being had at workshops, and there is no cohesiveness. So just like you told that gentleman that conversation could have had on both sides, y'all could have came to the workshop too and had conversations on both sides. So I invite you guys to think about that moving forward, because I really feel like, let's be real, that 18,000 square foot variance, Pat Kelly himself posted on Facebook the reason why he wanted to do that and what could come into place. I quoted the message last time. I won't re-quote it again, but he had a vision for Minneola. It was just approved in 2022, so it wasn't that long ago. So whatever has happened since then, whatever pockets have been changed or filled, that's none of my business, but there was a vision, and for whatever reason, these variances are popping up more and more often, and we need to figure out why. And the why is because we're not connected. You guys aren't showing up to meetings, the conversations aren't being had between the community, and that needs to change. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Me.
Oh, Bill, go ahead, sorry. But they can't, so they could hear you, because.
You know, ma'am, I take offense to that. I've been on this board 8 years maybe, and I've not missed any kind of meeting. And I'm gonna get to the workshop. I don't know when you had the workshop, but I wasn't here. I had something personal. My daughter graduated high school. She got accepted to a school in New York. I had to make a trip to New York, so I'd missed this meeting. And that's one reason why I made the statement earlier that nobody's communicating. I don't know how many of you people were at the workshop. Every single person in this room. Why didn't some of these questions come out at the workshop? Hang on a second. Why didn't somebody from the developer make conversation with the community? Obviously not. But I'm not gonna continue on with this, but I have a personal life. And this board is something that I volunteered to do, and so be it. I can't, I'm not two people, so I just took offense to what you said about we need to be where we need to be. I can be here when I'm able to be here because I love this community. I have a house in the reserve. I've been in that house for 14 years, and I think I am a part of this community. Entire. I'm not going to speak anymore. I'm done.
I understand you have personal things, but this affects our everyday lives.
I understand that. They had the same question.
It's a very important thing that we have to go through.
Have the same.
It's not a back and forward right now, it's final public comments from the board.
You need to come
And I
up
could
to the
also
front.
limit you.
Motion to.
I respect your opinion, but we do care. Make a motion to adjourn at,
Motion.
is it not, what is it, 8:50 PM? Can I have a second?
Second.
8:56.
8:56? Adjourned.
Quiet, 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 quiet,
Guy right here.
quiet, quiet, quiet.
Mr. Hurt, do you need this?
Yes, thank you very much. Sure, yeah, she needs to put that in.
Mean to get that way.